What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Turbo today. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, all right? It is the 1st of May. It's a brand new day. It's a brand new month. 20 hours left in this day here. Looking rather well for Turbo. I like this. You know, obviously you broke out of a very substantial downtrend, a multi-month downtrend here, a very, very intense downtrend, over 90% of a drop, right? And you had an immaculate bounce, immaculate recovery. I mean, not too many cryptos from the 7th of April pumped 38% throughout that month, right? That was a pretty miraculous recovery. In fact, what'd you do on a monthly basis? Look at that, man. Just crazy. 133% overall, open to close. I shouldn't say overall, open to close. Bullishly engulfed the prior month. Back up in this consolidation phase. It looks good, man. It looks really, really good. Lower lows in the RSI, higher lows in the price. Beautiful. Let's go back to the daily time frame. Actually, we'll look at the weekly. Yeah, we'll start off at the weekly here. Looking at the weekly time frame, we'll work our way down from the monthly to the weekly. Weekly RSI got to the oversold zone. You barely got into the oversold zone. Love living in the overbought zone apparently, but you're repulsed by the oversold zone, and it shows. What a massive recovery you had there. From a relative high to a relative low, you did tip. You kissed it, man. The golden ratio itself, it was perfect, and now you're at the 0.5. 1 second, you guys. Hold on. Little known fact about the golden ratio, whenever you find resistance there, and it's very common to find resistance there on your first attempt, of which this was, you come back down and you find support at the 0.5 or the 382 or something in this area, right? Which you've technically already done on a weekly basis so far. Looking at your weekly RSI, getting oversold and then ripping right above the 50, man. You're in very, very strong looking territory for the RSI to continue to grow to the overbought zone and see some immaculate growth, right? We have seen this movement before, you know, in Turbo's history, where we moved up at a fantastic pace around this area. We closed in this area a little bit higher, but consolidated here for quite some time, for months, right? Literally from May of last year until September of last year, you consolidated and then you continue to move up. So not financial advice, not a financial advisor. It wouldn't surprise me if Turbo consolidated a little bit longer in this range. I don't expect it to be months like this, but maybe, you know, a couple more days, a couple more weeks even. It could be by the end of this month that you really start to move up higher, but that doesn't sound right to me. I think you'll move up higher earlier than that. You know, time will tell. You consolidated here for so long because you saw the strongest readings in your overbought zone that you'd ever seen since and before then. You know, if we're looking at this here, where as of now you're just getting a fresh like kind of breath of life in you. Looking at this here on a daily time frame, you did stop with bearish divergence at the top here, kissed the golden ratio, and you're back down. I don't think you're showing signs of being ready to bounce just yet, and you could go lower, but this would be a fine area to bounce from. You know, if you were to go lower, maybe you do something like this. You slowly get down there. Second week of May, you start to bounce. I could see that happening. You might be working your way down all the way down to 0033. You're at 0044 right now, so 0033 is a possibility. The percentage of that drop would be something like 26%. It might seem a bit intense, but even from there, from your low point, that's 146% up overall since April 7th, and most coins aren't even like a third of that. So I think you're fine, man. Sometimes you move up more, you got to move down more. It's just part of it. You're more volatile, right? But you don't have to find support at the 382. Perhaps you find some support somewhere in between. And if we look at the price action here, finding support at 0038 would be a very solid possibility as well. I want to look at the relative low to high and just see what this is looking like too. Where's the 382 here? Your 382 is right on top of that 382. But you're bouncing right off the 236. I'll tell you what, as long as you're above 00420, if you're above, it would have been better if that was 69, right? 420, 69, that would have been hilarious. And maybe it is on some charts, I don't know, but 00,42061, as long as you're staying above there, not just closing above there, but staying above there. If you wick below like this and you come back up and close above, I would think that you still inevitably go down, right? This is one of those things you just don't want to get below. As long as you're above here, I think that you don't have to go down to this area you know, what would ultimately change my mind in saying that you do go down to 0033, 0034 down in that zone would just be basically seeing new highs relative to this here. Um, I would expect that you do go down here, but you know, I'll accept that as long as you're not below here, there is a possibility that you could bounce from here. But not financial advice, not a financial advisor. Don't get your hopes up. I would expect that we pull back down. So 0034, ultimately we're at 0044 now. That's the expectation for Turbo, probably over the coming days. Probably over the coming days, yeah, and that makes sense because again, when you were here last time, you consolidated for months, right? And you went to prices that were at 0028. I'm not calling for anything crazy, just 0034, kind of at the base of the closing range here, actually. A little bit of volatility like you saw before, and then maybe in a week or two, you can come back up. I would expect that this move down is rather swift. It doesn't have to be like one day, but maybe over the days you just kind of move down, you don't dilly dally, and then you find support and you bounce, right? Going into like the second week of May, I wouldn't be surprised. Looking at this on a 4-hour time frame, the 4-hour RSI is suggestive of lower prices. Yes, yes, it is. Let's look at this on something like Coinbase with volume. Volume's just not showing up at all, man. We're getting to the point, you know, we're in this overall consolidation phase here. If you were to break out to the upside or the downside, whenever the volume comes in to back up that move, that's how we know if it's legitimate or not. So let's wait on that. But I do think you go lower. Just looking at this here, 1-hour RSI sucks too. So yeah, I guess the call would be lower, man. Turbo 0048 right now. The expectation is for you to go down to 0034 or 0039, maybe even a little bit below there, somewhere in that zone there. Find support and then continue to grow. When you do continue to grow, where are you going to go? My assumption would be, since you stopped right at the golden ratio, you tore all the way up here, and you're going down to find support at the 382. And that's what I'm thinking. My guess would be that you go all the way up to the 786, 886 for your next move. Maybe you're here by the end of May. That would be my consideration, I suppose. 0087 to about 1.1 cents, somewhere in this zone by the end of the month. That would make, you know, from like a low, if we went to the area that I'm expecting we go to, from a low to a potential high, that gives you like a 150% pump, maybe even a 216% pump by the end of this month, or somewhere around there. That'd be nuts. You could be higher than that by the end of this month. It's very possible. But that's the path before us. I don't know if I have anything else that I want to say, so I'll just end the video there. Turbo, I very much do believe, will inevitably see new all-time highs by the end of May, by the end of June, whenever it is, we're going to see new all-time highs. I very much believe this move overall will take us there, and this move will come to full maturity. We'll achieve the end of this next rally by the end of June. That's my expectations. It's not the end of the cycle. We'll consolidate here, and then going into the end of the year, 2025 here, that's whenever we'll find our all-time high and that next kind of move up. Who knows, man? Maybe we move up, we consolidate once, we move up again, we consolidate again, and then we have one final push, and then we move up higher. However it's going to look, I just don't think that this next phase by the end of June is the end of the cycle. That's all I'm trying to say. The end of the cycle will be later this year, and that's all I got. So hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye.